Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, y'all. So welcome to Can You Pay My Bills? Can you pay my telephone bill? Yeah, I'm super excited about tonight. Y'all know I always like to have a good time when we talk about financial literacy and financial topics in general, because I feel like finances is one of the things that people really don't want to talk about. Everybody want to look like they have money instead of, really taking the time to actually learn what it takes to get to the places that they desire. So student loans, I know, is one of these like burdens that a lot of people have on their neck. And honestly, because I don't have student loans, it's not always at the top of my mind, but I know that that's not everybody's reality. So I'll tell you a little bit later about how I arrived at even doing this workshop. But I'm so grateful that you all are here tonight. And as we are going throughout this presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. No question is a dumb question. I'm telling you all, there's so much that I have learned just from doing research. And it could be a whole lot of fluff and just information that you don't know. So, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Drop them in the chat. So, I am Kiani, the responsible homegirl. I know most of you know me from sharing financial education. If you don't know me, I am from Kingstree, South Carolina, which is a very small town in South Carolina. My senior year of high school, I decided that I was going to go to the College of Charleston. Now, if you know me, pretty much
That's
already know majority of my story, but I'm gonna share it again for those who don't know. So, graduated from high school, went to CFC completely debt free. So, I don't have any student loans. Praise God. Now, I had so many scholarships that each and every semester I would get anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 in a refund check. So just imagine my 18-year-old self living downtown Charleston with $7,000 and no bills. I was living my best life, me and my friends. And that was all good and dandy until my senior year of college. I decided that I wanted to move off campus. So before I made that big jump, of course, I called my mom, asked her opinion, because that's what kids do, even when we don't listen. And she was like, Kiani, why would you do that? That's a horrible idea. You've been staying on campus all these years, stay on campus. But me wanting to be grown, I was like, I'm not listening to you. I want this apartment. So I moved off campus. And guys, 4 months into me moving off campus, here I am facing eviction. So I will never forget. Rent was due on December 1st, and I'm looking at my bank account because I don't have my $889. So in that moment, I had a decision to make. Do I pick up the phone and call my mom and hear the speech, hear the I told you so, hear all of the stuff that comes with me actually getting help? Or do I just figure this thing out? And because of my pride, I decided to go with the latter option. And I'm so happy I did, because had I not went through that season, there would be no responsible homegirl. We would not be here tonight. So that season really taught me how to change my pain into purpose. And I created the responsible homegirl. And now I really believe that with exposure, execution, and consistency, there is nothing you can't do. Absolutely nothing. So moving forward, since then, I've been able to budget consistently with having jobs, without having jobs. Last year, I left my full-time job and now I am a full-time entrepreneur, which is amazing and a huge deal for me. I've been able to open up high yield savings accounts to build discipline around saving, open up a Roth IRA to start preparing for retirement, consistently invested in my self education, which is the best thing that you could ever invest in. So by y'all being here tonight, you are investing in your self-education. You are learning so that it can improve your finances later on. And then I've partnered with over 50 organizations across the state and the nation, helping teach people about financial literacy. So I've been able to do a lot of great things since facing eviction, since not knowing how to budget my money, since not having savings accounts, since working two jobs and having nothing to show for it. So if I can do it, you can too. Additionally, I've been able to pay off debt, and I have helped facilitate a group of women save over 29K in January and February with the Secret Savings Club. And we're on track to saving six figures in 6 months. I got to update this because I have to update like our March numbers. But this is a huge deal. So, like I said before, I share all this because if I can do it, there are things that you can do in your personal finances as well. Now, tonight, I'm not teaching this class for fun. There are other things that I could be doing. So I want you to know, as you are learning all of this stuff that I'm teaching you tonight, I expect execution. Anything that I learn and I teach, I'm expecting you to actually do something with the information, because we all know that knowledge isn't power, but applied knowledge is power. So it's one thing to sit on this Zoom call and say, oh my God, this information was so great. I never knew about this. Wow, I could have had my student loans forgiven years ago. Okay, all of that is good and dandy. But I want you to walk away from this Zoom call tonight knowing that I'm going to actually do some things. I'm going to put it in action. I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm going to actually do what it is that I need to get in position for student loan forgiveness. So now that leads me into my next point. I want to know who we got in the room. So you could be, number one, someone avoiding their loans, pretending like they don't exist. If you identify with a person number one, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. You could be person number two. You are sick and tired of paying on your loans and you want forgiveness. So you're one of the ones, you're not pretending like your student loans don't exist, like you know they exist. You've been paying on them for years, but you're like sick and tired of these loans. You graduated college 10 years ago, yet you still paying student loan debt. Are you number two? Or you could be number three. You see all of these news outlets talking about Biden forgiving student loans, but somehow you still got student loans. How millions of Americans got their student loans forgiven, yet you got student loan debt? Are you 1, 2, 3, a mix of all of them? I want to know who we got in the room tonight. Let's see what y'all saying in the chat. Let's see. 1, 2, and 3. Exactly. I see a 1, a 2, 1 and 3, 1, 3, 3, 1. Yes. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. I love it. So y'all, I'm number 3 because the math is just not mathing to me. I don't understand how 4.3 million Americans have already gotten student loan forgiveness, yet I can count on one hand how many people I personally know. And before the conversation that I had with my aunt last night, I only knew one. It was just her. So I was talking to her about my presentation, and she was like, Key, I'm not the only one. So and so got their loans forgiven. This person, that person. I was like, okay, auntie. I mean, you named 4 people just now. That's only 5 folks. So that has me thinking there is an information gap. Something is not clicking, because if 4.3 million Americans have gotten their student loans forgiven, I believe that I should know more people who have actually gotten their loans forgiven, more than 5 at least. So today I'm going to talk about Biden's new student loan forgiveness plan. So this plan has not been approved yet, but hopefully it gets approved this July. Number 2, I'm going to share exactly what you need to qualify for forgiveness outside of this plan, even if the plan does not get approved, what you can do today to qualify forgiveness. And then 3, show you how to move forward step by step. So again, that goes back to what I said earlier. You're not just here to hear me talk, hear me teach about this information. I want you to leave knowing that I have to do X, Y, Z so I can get in position to get my student loans forgiven. All right. Before we get started, though, I want to play a little game. So I have a giveaway for the person who can finish the lyrics and name the song. Okay? So I'm going to read off the lyrics. It says, or should I sing it for y'all? I'll be singing like I can actually sing. So I'm going to sing it so it can help y'all out a little bit. So it says, at first we started out real cool, taking me places I ain't never been. But now, see, this sounds like y'all student loans. Y'all started out real cool. Your student loans, they got you to college, taking you places you ain't never been before. But now you're getting real, dang, look at me giving away one of them. Real blank. You can Google it if you need some help. And now you're doing things blank. You're slowly making me pay for things. Yes, the government wants their money back. Your blank should be handling. So whoever drops the lyrics in the chat first and names the song, I have something for you. We're doing some giveaways tonight. Let me see. You getting real comfortable doing things you did before. Slowly making me pay for things your money should be handling. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, yes. What's the name of the song, Shakiwa? You can come off mute or you can put it in the chat. Either one. Bills. Pay my bills. Bills, bills, bills. Y'all, I read the first verse of this song and I said, wow, that sounds just like these student loans. At first, we started off real cool. They made a way for you to continue your education, and that we love. We are very grateful for. Taking you places you ain't never been. You ain't never been to nobody college campus, not for 4 years, 2 years, 3 years, however, everybody didn't make it to graduation, and that's okay too. But you still have those student loans. But now you're getting real comfortable. These loans getting real comfortable in your financial situation. Ain't doing those things you was doing before. You're not in school no more. You done graduated. Why are you still paying these loans? Slowly making me pay for things the money should be handling. You got a new job, the job that you was promised, the job that you worked so hard for, that should be covering these student loans. So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight. Shakiwa, after tonight's session, I want you to email me your address because I'm gonna be sending you the Responsible Homegirl budgeting planner. Yes, ma'am. Look at you knowing songs. All right, so first, we're going to get started off with objective number 1, explaining Biden's new student loan plan. So y'all, when I tell you this is new, you can see the date here, April 8th, 2024, literally 3 days ago, and this was taken from the White House. President Joe Biden outlines new plan to deliver student debt relief to over 30 million Americans under his leadership. So if he is proposing something for 30 million Americans, you got to be in the number. You have to be in the number. And like I told you all earlier, this hasn't been approved yet. It should be approved by July of this year. And when I say approved by July, that doesn't mean that everybody is going to get forgiveness July of this year because everybody isn't in position. But what he's saying is he's going to allow like access for 30 million people. So if you fall into any of these 5 categories that we are about to talk about, you will be on the path to getting student loan forgiveness. So y'all, we have to move with a sense of urgency and do what it is that it takes to be in position to get your student loans forgiven, because y'all gonna be surprised at these requirements, right? So the first thing that he is changing with his plan, he is canceling runaway interest for millions of borrowers. So what that means is most of you probably have a higher student loan balance than you did initially because of interest. So you all know that interest accumulates over time. What President Biden is saying is, I want to help you all out with that. I don't want you to have to pay the balance of what you borrowed plus your interest. So what they're going to do, they're going to step up and they're going to cancel up to $20,000 worth of interest that is attached to anybody who have student loans. That's for everybody, regardless of how much you make. Now, if you are in the low middle class, which is majority of Americans, and you are enrolled in the SAVE plan or any other income-based driven repayment plan, you can have your entire interest balance forgiven. Now, not the whole balance, the interest. So they define low to middle income as single borrowers who earn $120,000 or less, or married borrowers who earn $240,000 or less. That's majority of Americans, because the majority of Americans are not earning 6 figures in their careers, in their jobs. So that is huge. So let's think about your balance that you actually have, your student loan balance, and then all of the interest that has grown over years, over months of you not paying on it. President Biden is saying, don't worry about that. The government is going to handle it. So that's the first thing, canceling interest for millions of borrowers. The second thing that he is proposing is automatically canceling debt for borrowers eligible for loan forgiveness under SAVE, which is something we're going to talk about later, PSLF, which is short for Public Service Loan Forgiveness. That's if you serve the public. We're going to talk about that later as well. Closed school discharge. So if you went to a school that is no longer in existence, the school is not up and running anymore, the school lost their accreditation, they're going to offer you student loan forgiveness as well, or other forgiveness programs but are not enrolled. So I can just foresee that number 2 is going to help out a lot of our older population who may not be as tech savvy, who may not be as up to date with, oh, I have to apply for this, I got to get enrolled in this plan. They don't really know the ins and outs of how to get forgiveness. President Biden is saying, don't even worry about it. If I look at your income, your taxes, all of this different stuff, and you qualify for forgiveness, don't worry about it. We're going to forgive your loans. So automatically, they're not going to have to apply for it. They'll get automatic forgiveness. So that's a plus as well, because I think that'll get rid of like that education, that information gap of people not knowing how to get started with forgiveness. So the next couple of things, number 3, he is going to cancel student debt for borrowers who entered repayment over 20 years ago. So again, helping out that older population, people who have graduated from college years and years and years ago, but somehow they are still paying on student loans. Number 4, canceling student debt for borrowers who enrolled in low financial value programs. So this is a good one, going back to schools that have lost their accreditation, schools that are no longer here, they're closed. They're even talking about schools that promised that you would get these good jobs, but the job to like graduation rate wasn't as high as the government expected to be. So it's a lot of, I would just say, gray areas around what actual schools would qualify, but I feel like this would be a good one as well. Now, number 5, this is my personal favorite because I believe that this is going to help a whole lot of people. And number 5 is canceling student debt for borrowers experiencing hardship paying back their loans. Now, the reason why this is one of my favorites is because y'all know post-COVID, inflation has continued to go up and up and up. Cost of living, cost of goods, cost of services, all of that has continued to rise, but our income has stayed pretty consistent. So if the cost of groceries, the cost of your light bill, the cost of your rent, the cost of your mortgage, all of this stuff has continued to increase, yet your income has stayed the same, who's to say that you can attach another bill? So I believe this last one is really going to help a lot of people. So they haven't clearly defined what hardship looks like, but the information that I gathered, they said borrowers who are at high risk of defaulting on their student loans, meaning that you will miss multiple payments, who could be eligible for automatic relief, or families who are burdened with other expenses like a medical bill, something happened within your health, and now you have a new debt that you have to pay back that you didn't think that you would have to experience, or even childcare. That's another expense that has continued to go up over the years. So I really appreciate the fact that the government is looking at people's financial situation in totality and not just based off of, oh, how much money do you make a year? So those are the 5 things that Biden is proposing in his new plan. And like I said, it should be approved by July of this year, should go in effect, but y'all know how the government be, so we'll see. Even if the plan doesn't get approved, there are still things that we should do right now. So the next thing that I really want us to be focusing on is the SAVE plan. I'm going to keep you updated with Biden and all of this stuff that he has going on via email and on my social media. So stay rocking with me there. As they release updates, I'll release them to you. But I don't want us to get so bogged down on that. I really want us to focus on what do we actually have control over now. And one is enrolling in the SAVE plan. So the SAVE plan stands for Saving on a Valuable Education Plan. It is one of the most updated income-based driven repayment plan. So 4.5 million borrowers have a monthly payment of $0 under the plan. 4.5 million people have a monthly payment of $0 a month. And an additional 1 million borrowers have a monthly payment of less than $100 a month. Y'all cannot tell me that that's not good. My auntie who inspired me to do this, not my aunt who actually had forgiveness, but the nurse who who inspired me, she asked me one day, Key, I heard that the Biden administration just released something for nurses. Do you know anything about it? And I was like, no, but let me do some research. And as me and her are talking, she told me she was paying $697 a month in student loan repayment. I'm like, that's almost $700 in a student loan bill. So guys, more than anything, everybody on this call, if you are not already in the SAVE plan, you need to be enrolled in the SAVE plan. Why? Because 4.5 million borrowers have a monthly payment of $0 a month. An additional 1 million have monthly payments of less than $100. And what the government is doing, they are looking at your income and your family size. Your income and your family size, and not just gross income. So your gross income is, your income before taxes and all of that is taken out. They're looking at adjusted gross income. So when you file your taxes, you should see something that says AGI. The government is going to look at that, your family size, and then they are going to tell you what your monthly payment should be. The beauty in this, though, is because Biden have made so many updates and have changed so many things regarding income, the rules are not the same. So even if you applied for SAVE in the past and you didn't qualify for it, or your monthly payment wasn't really hitting on anything, or you probably didn't give it no attention because y'all know we went years without paying on student loans because of COVID, I'm telling you, you need to make this a priority. So under SAVE, borrowers who initially took out $12,000 or less in loans have been in repayment for 10 years are eligible to get their remaining debt canceled. So if you have less than $12,000 in student loans and you've been paying on your loans for 10 years, you can get the rest of your loans forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to drop in the chat right now. I just kind of want to see where people are. If you actually know the amount of student loans that you owe, drop a 1 in the chat. If you owe less than $12,000, drop a 2 in the chat. So if you actually know the amount that you owe, drop a 1. If you owe less than $12,000, I want you to drop a 2. Okay, that's good. Y'all know how much y'all owe. Okay, for the people who are listening and you don't know, Brittany said my payment is $0. Yes, I love that. So y'all can see real time, $0 a month. Last night, I posted something on social media talking about the workshop that we're having tonight. And one of my friends, she's a chiropractor, y'all, and her payment per month is $0. So do not drag your feet on getting enrolled in the SAVE plan. They are really, really, really trying to help people out. Okay, so we got a whole lot of 1s, no 2s. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. We're going to talk more about that if you got more than $12,000. All right, so a whole lot of 1s. I'm happy. If y'all do not know the amount of student loans that you have, I want you to make a note because that's another piece of your homework tonight. You need to figure out exactly how much you owe in student loan debt. All right, continuing. For every additional $1,000 in loans that they took up to $21,000 total for undergraduate, and then $26,000 for graduate loans. So a borrower is eligible for relief after an additional year of payment. So $1,000, or for every additional $1,000 up to $21,000 for undergrad, and for every additional $1,000 up to $26,000 for graduate. So an example of that is if a borrower took out $13,000, if you have a debt of $13,000, you'll be eligible for debt cancellation after 11 years. So y'all see how $12,000 is 10 years. For every $1,000 up to $21,000, it's just another year. So 13,000, 11 years. 14,000, 12 years. You get, and it just keeps going up and up and up until $21,000 for undergraduate, up until $26,000 for graduate. So does anybody have any questions about the SAVE plan, about these numbers before we keep going forward? So if you have under $12,000 or less, you will get debt cancellation after 10 years. And y'all, this has nothing to do with what I'm going to be talking about next. This is just under the SAVE plan. So I feel like that gives everybody hope, because even if next we're going to talk about public service loan forgiveness, even if you don't work in public service, this gives you hope that you can still have a portion of your loans forgiven under an income-based repayment plan. And like Brittany said, her payment is $0 a month. Those payments count towards you paying on your loans for 10 years or 11 years. And every single year that you certify, the government is going to give you an updated amount of what you should be paying. Does that make sense? So even if you are paying $0 a month, that's still active. You're still in the clear with the government. Even if you're paying $30 a month, somebody told me they're paying $42 a month. That's still okay. It's still going to help you get closer to student loan forgiveness. So the next thing I want to talk about is PSLF, and that is short for Public Service Loan Forgiveness. So under Public Service Loan Forgiveness, borrowers in public service for 10 years who have made 120 months of qualifying payments can get the remaining of their student debt canceled. So that means you are working in public service for 10 years and you have made 120 qualified payments. Now, if we couple public service loan forgiveness with the SAVE plan, and say, for instance, you're a teacher, and under the SAVE plan, based off of your income and your family size, the government says, okay, Miss So-and-so, you're eligible for $0 a month payments. Those $0 a month payments count towards your 120 months of qualifying payments. So this is why I am screaming from the mountaintop. Do not pretend like your student loans don't exist. We gotta face them. The last thing that I want you to do is think that Jesus paid it all, or I'm never paying these people back. Y'all know all of the crazy stuff that we hear when there are resources out here to help us. Another thing about public service loan forgiveness, what's most important is your place of employment. Your place of employment is more important than the job title. So when we think about public service loan forgiveness, we typically think about our nurses, our police officers, our teachers, our firefighters. But in me doing research, I learned that it's not just about a job title, because you can be an administrative assistant and you work at a school. So you are supporting them in their public service work. And because that school, that entity, that organization qualifies as public service work, you will qualify for public service loan forgiveness. So don't get so hooked up on, oh, I'm not a teacher, oh, I'm not a nurse, oh, I'm not a firefighter. This doesn't apply to me. Before we make any assumptions, we got to do the research. We have to do the research. The government released this amazing tool. It's a database where you can type in your employer's EIN number and you can actually see if they qualify or not. And even if they don't qualify, y'all, it's a whole process that you can go through, get signatures to see that they can qualify for public service loan forgiveness. So if you're listening right now and you work for a nonprofit organization that has a 501c3, they qualify for public service loan forgiveness. And even if they're not in the database, you can start that process. So again, the place of employment is way more important than the actual job title. And remember, public service is 10 years of public service, 120 months of qualifying payments. So if you graduated college at 22, by the time you're 32, baby girl, them student loans are gone. If you don't start your payment plans until you're 32, in 10 years at 42, the student loans are gone. So y'all, 10 years is not that big. And with all of the resources right now, $0 a month, people paying payments less than $100, we have to take advantage of what the government is doing right now. We're not going to wait and say, oh, I need to be making more money. No, the income that you have right now, the family size that you have right now is going to benefit you. Okay, so the government is giving very much, I can't help you unless you help yourself. So that's why I'm continuing to push y'all. Enroll in the SAVE plan. See if you qualify for public service loan forgiveness. Because like I said, it's given very much, I can't help you unless you help yourself. So if you're listening, you're like, where do I start? All of this information is great, but I need a blueprint. So this was our third objective. The first thing that you need to know is your loan type and your provider. there are certain loans that actually qualify for forgiveness. So you need to know, do I have direct loans, unsubsidized, subsidized? What type of loans do I have? Who are the provider of my loans? Is it Mohela? Is it somebody else? You need to know your loan type and your provider. Number 2, you want to get enrolled in the SAFE plan. Last night I did a demo and it took me every bit of 10 minutes. I couldn't do it for real because I don't have student loans. But the demo that I did, 10 minutes, y'all. Get enrolled in the SAFE plan. And then number 3, see if you qualify for public service loan forgiveness based on your employer. So most of us, we know who we work for. So you could literally Google, is such and such a 501c3? Or you can even go to studentaid.gov, type in their EIN number, and they'll tell you whether or not they qualify. If they don't qualify, like I said, it's a whole nother process that we can go through together so that you can start the process. So those are the 3 things that you need to do. Those are like high level, top of the list. Number 1, know your loan types. Know who are the provider of your loans. And we're not going to talk about this right now, but you might be in a situation where you might need to consolidate your loans because you have different loans and you just want to bring them together, get in a SAFE plan so that you can be on your way to forgiveness. You want to get enrolled in the SAFE plan. Like I said, the application process is not long. And then 3, you want to see if you qualify for public service loan forgiveness based on your employer. So now let's do a quick recap. We talked about Biden's new student loan forgiveness. So what he's going to do is he's not going to tack on that interest that has grown for years and years and years. He's going to help out people who are experiencing some sort of hardship. He's going to automatically forgive loans for folks who are not enrolled in any of the plans but need help. He's going to help out people who went to colleges who are not colleges that are not open no more. They lost their accreditation, all of that good stuff. So Biden has a lot of things in place to help over 30 million Americans. And if he's helping 30 million Americans get in position for student loan forgiveness, you must be in the number. Number 2, we talked about what you actually need to qualify for forgiveness. And then number 3, I showed you how to move forward. So the 3 things that you need to do, you need to know what type of loans you have, the loan providers to see if you actually qualify. Unfortunately, if you have private loans, none of this stuff applies to you. This stuff is only if you have federal government loans. The second thing that you need to do is get enrolled in the SAVE plan. The application process does not take long. And then number 3, you need to see if you qualify for public service loan forgiveness. So remember, I didn't teach this class for fun. I told y'all that earlier. There are other things that I could be doing right now. So I really, really, really want you to take action. So do your homework, and I want you to meet me again next week. This is not just a one and done thing. I actually want to check up on you and see, okay, did you get enrolled in the SAVE plan? What did they say? What's the timeline? What's your approval amount? I want you to do your homework and meet me back here next week so we can talk through some more things. If you go do your homework and you find out, dang, I have 4 different types of loans. Kiani, what loans actually qualify me for forgiveness? We're going to talk about that as well. Should I consolidate my loans? We're going to talk about that as well. So do your homework, and then I want you to Oh my God, was that, can y'all hear me?
We can
Now
now.
we
We can hear
can.
you
You went away for
now.
a little while.
Oh Lord. Was I chopping up? Because I'm getting, let's see.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta tell me. I live out here in this country. Okay, let me see. Uh, okay, I think it's stable now. Can y'all hear me fine now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Let me go back to share my screen. We went out. I'm like, oh my God. Small computer. Okay, y'all, we just gonna keep it right here because I don't know why that's doing that. Okay. So I want you to show up next week. Next week, like I said, we're talking more in detail because you will actually have your homework done. And once you do your homework, I'm pretty sure you'll come back with more questions for me because you actually started the process. The goal of all of it, though, is to really take the confusion and the mystery out of getting your student loans forgiven. And I want to hold you accountable to get started. Y'all know how many times we know we need to do something, but we still don't do it. We procrastinate and we just say, oh, I'm going to get to it. And honestly, sometimes life just happens and it takes our focus. But no, I want to be here for you to walk you through the process because, like I said, if they press go on Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, I don't want you to not be in position. And in July, you're looking like, dang, another round of people got their student loans forgiven. And my application still isn't processed yet. I still don't know what's happening. No, let's start now. Let's get in position now so that when those things start moving, you know that you're on your path to forgiveness. So next week, I'm still teaching the class for free, but I'm asking each of you to just cover the expenses for the class, which is $10 a person. We're going to be back doing case studies, talking one-on-one with people, going through loans. For the people who are actually comfortable with sharing their screens, sharing their numbers, I want us to go through this process together. So like I said, next week, we're going to do Can You Pay My Bills Part 2, where we're going to be talking more in depth about student loan forgiveness. And like I said, the class I'm still teaching for free, but I'm just asking anybody who wants to come back to class next week and talk about your particular plan. I'm just asking you to cover the expenses for the class, which is $10 a person. So the time is going to pass anyway. I don't want you to procrastinate on this. I don't want you to keep unnecessary student loan debt. I don't want you to pretend like your loans don't exist and they end up in default. And that's something else. That's a whole nother conversation. If your loans are in default right now, thank God the government has a plan called Fresh Start that you can get enrolled in. They'll put you on an income-based repayment plan, and they'll take the bad remark off of your credit report. So that's a huge plus for me, because if you're gonna put me in this plan and now I'm actually paying on my student loans, the fact that they're going to take it off of your credit report is not going to continue to negatively impact your credit. So don't pretend like your loans don't exist and they end up in default. And then last but not least, don't sleep on the resources out here that are here to help you financially. Like I told y'all earlier, I don't have student loans, so this type of stuff isn't on the top of my mind. But as I was doing all of this research, I was so surprised at what's available. And I'm like, why is nobody talking about this? And I hate to make general statements like that, like, oh my God, nobody's talking about it. But I feel like I'm on social media a good bit. I don't watch the news, so I don't know if they share it on the news or not. But I'm like, more people need to know how to actually get their student loans forgiven. And if they have an income-based driven repayment plan that I can enroll in and pay $0 or less than $100, why are we not doing it? Why are we not doing it? So those are my 4 challenges to you as we kind of wrap up this workshop. Don't procrastinate. Don't keep unnecessary student loan debt. Don't pretend like your loans don't exist and they end up in default. And don't sleep on the resources out here to really help you. So I gave you a lot of information tonight. The most important thing is that you actually do your homework. Meet me back here next week so we can talk about it in more detail, and that you can get on the path to forgiveness, because y'all know how fast time goes by. We were all probably in college for 4 years, and the 4 years flew by. So 10 years goes by pretty fast. So the time is going to pass anyway. I just want each of us to be in position. So do we have any questions before we end? I want to take a moment for y'all to think about anything that I talked about as far as save, public service loan forgiveness, if you work a particular place, if you have already been paying on your student loans, how does that impact you? If you have any questions, drop them in the chat for me.
I'll drop one in the chat, Kiani. I was just wondering, because I'm currently enrolled in school. So I was wondering it still applies to me as maybe as part of my undergrad loans, possibly.
Yeah, so it doesn't, and the reason why is because you're in school. So once you graduate from school, you'll get that 6-month grace period. However, I feel like a smart play for you is go ahead and get in the save plan, especially if you can get a payment that's $0 a month or under $100, and go ahead and start making your payments because it's more so about time than it is money. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So if you can, do you know when you're graduating from your program?
Next year.
Next year, right? So you don't want a whole year to go by when you could have had 12 qualified payments already in the tunnel.
Right. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So if you can get enrolled in that save plan and your plan is $0 a month, especially because you're in school, you have dependents, your income, and you have a payment that's $0 a month, I'll say why not? Go ahead and get a year in the game, and then even after you graduate, you kind of already have a head start.
Got you. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a really good question. Any other questions as far as forgiveness or student loans, period? No?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay, well, I have a favor for y'all. The last thing, I just want you to drop a short review in the chat. You can tell me like, what did you think about tonight's class? Your main takeaway from tonight's class. That's my one favor, so I can screenshot it and use it for the folks who didn't show up and be like, this is why y'all should have been here. And I want to see you next week. So drop a short review in the chat for me about how was tonight's class? What did you learn? Your main takeaways? Anything of that sort. And that's all I got. And if any questions do come up while you're doing that, please come off mute and ask me. Awesome class. Thank you, Betty. Does everybody have their homework? Do I need to go back to that screen or did y'all get screenshots of it? Brianna said, my main takeaway was it. Point. Yes. Yes, so many options. And if you're not actively researching it, like you're just not going to know. Yes, Ty, stop ignoring them people. Stop ignoring them. I'm gonna go back to the homework just in case people did not get it. Very informative. My student payments have not started yet, but I learned multiple options to set myself up for success. Exactly. Yes. Public service employee. Although I'm a public service employee, it's good to know for others connected that being. Yes, and I'm so happy that you brought that up, Shakiwa, because y'all, please tell your friends, tell your homegirls, tell your homeboys, because I mean, it's some people who probably just they're not thinking about it. So tell them, like, put other people on game. Everybody is not going to come and sit in on a class that I'm hosting. Everybody probably does not follow me on Instagram or Facebook. So by you getting this information tonight, share it with your folks so they can know, okay, let me take 10 minutes and get enrolled in this save plan. Let me not have my loans get in default. And then I think this was last week or probably like 2 weeks ago, I hosted a class called Mapping Out Your Wealth Building Journey. And I taught the ladies like one of the ways that most people build wealth is through home ownership. You are going to delay your home ownership process if when your mortgage loan officer is looking at all of your debt, they see that your student loans are in default. You're going to have to do something with that. So don't even let your student loans get to that place when we have so many resources available to help us. Does that make sense? So let's not think just about right now, like think big picture. Think about how this impacts your credit, how this impacts your wealth. Like, it's that serious, y'all. And I'm sorry, if I borrowed 25 grand, 30 grand, and the government said you can get enrolled in a payment for $0 a month, there's no way I'm dragging my feet on that. No way. So that was really good. Thank you so much for that. And I feel like a lot of people would be appreciative because people, they just don't know. Brianna said, I've been ignoring them for 6 years. Listen, I can understand, and it's a little scary because, like I said, my aunt, she's a nurse. Who wants to pay $697 a month in a student loan bill? I was even shocked that she was paying that. I'm like, girl,
Right.
what? I was like, you have to go to the house tomorrow and let me, because she's older and she is not as tech savvy. So I'm like, no, let me help you out with enrolling in this. There are things that you can do. $697? Come on now.
A lot.
Tonight with a shoe and you can tell Keandre her homework. Yes, get on it now. I'm a small business owner and had no idea that business could apply to be. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Makes perfect sense. Yep. So there are so many different, there are just so many different resources available for you. And in the recap email that I'm going to send y'all with this replay, just in case you want to listen to it one more time, and then your homework, if any questions come up, I want you to reply to that email. Ask me the questions that you have. Do your homework. Meet me in class again next week, and we're going to get into individual processes. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. I'm happy that y'all found the class valuable. Please tell all of your folks. I will send out this replay to you. And like I said, I'm here to be a resource to you. So if you have any questions, let me know. That's all I got for y'all.